Hello YouTube family, working on the Vega. I got the brake hose off. Here's where the fitting hooks up to the hose, and then under here in the caliper you can see that hole. That's where it hooks up to the other side of the hose. Getting it off was easy. I don't know why this eluded me 10 years ago, but pretty much all you need is a 5/8 socket to get it off the caliper. And then for the actual hard line to the hose, if it is rounded, which it was, and it doesn't matter because these wouldn't fit over the way that brake line is insulated, so you couldn't use the good tool. You know what you use? You use vice grips. These guys. You just chew into the thread of the rounded nut and clamp down on this thing. Screw it till it's tight and you clamp down. And then you hold a wrench on the outer nut of the hose while you turn the vice grip. Anyway, it freed it up. It's loose. I don't need to put on a new line, although, you know, that nut doesn't look great. And I may still eventually do the new lines. But anyway, check this out. This is why I'm doing it. These are the 50-year-old hoses, right? Look at this. Yikes! Yikes! Looks like mice have been chewing on it. No, it's just dried out and ruined. Because it has such a tight bend there toward the end, it's just fatigued. But this is a 50-year-old hose. To my knowledge, it's the one the GM put on it when it left the factory. You can see how dried out and crunchy it is. So this is why we do this. You can't rely on these hoses anymore. So we're going to put our new hose on. We took the wire wheel. We cleaned up the nut. And we're ready to put the new ones on. This is pretty straightforward. Then I'll have to bleed the brakes. And we should be good. New master cylinder, new hoses. I'm not sure if I'm going to do the calipers, because it's kind of a pain on the Vega. You got to pull these pins out, and then you need to use new hardware, because every time you pull the pins out, these little plastic things fatigue and it just doesn't hold the pins, so the pins ride out and rub on the rims. Vega brakes suck. There's an aftermarket company that sells a larger piston brake. They're powder coated red, and they screw on with Allen bolts. I think I may just go to that instead, if that's doable, because that will be all fresh and modern and easier to service in the future without these silly pins. Anyway, so yeah, brake hoses. Always put a catch pan down to catch all the brake fluid that's leaking out of the line, and should go back together without too much drama. Okay, I got the new hose in. See it there? And then I tightened up the one in the front. It's in there. See that? Yeah. Now the only thing left to do is to put our little locking clip onto the back of that one. So we'll do that now. I had lost it. I couldn't find it anywhere. It's because it's stuck to the magnet on my light. So basically, get your brake line here. This little clip has to locate this guy. You slide it up in between here. Oh, I might have to tap it on with a hammer. Okay, I got the retaining clip. On. I kind of just angled it to get it started under the lip of the fitting, and then once I pushed it up a little bit, I just tapped it with a hammer, set it. So we got our retaining clip, nuts tight, it's on the brake hose, everything's good. Yeah, we're good. I thought I'd show you guys under here, it's kind of fun. This Vega has a very rare T50 5-speed. They were available on Vegas, Monzas, and Oldsmobile Starfires. This one is particularly good. This is from a V6 model. So it's what they called a world class one, which was for heavier duty torque of the V6. So this one's really strong. And there's my oil pan. I had it chromed. one of the times I had this motor rebuilt. Resting on a, okay, so we got it resting on a cinder block on this side. And over here, we're going to loosen the lug nuts and jack it up and take the tire off. It's kind of a useful tip when you're working on these and you want to get the tires off. While it's still sitting on the ground, loosen these. Just break them free. Just toot, 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 so they turn a little bit. That way when you jack it up, you can just take them off. Because once it's up in the air, unless you have an impact that can hit it with a bunch of torque, the tire is going to turn rather than loosen the lug nut, and it's really frustrating. So loosen all your nuts on the ground, jack it up, take the wheel off. Another important thing when you're jacking your vehicle up, always make sure it's at an approved point. Like on the Vega, I know that this pinch weld at the front is the jacking point. You can really damage a car if you jack it in the wrong place. I mean, you could rip right through the floor. You could damage your rocker panels. Always make sure, look in your manual. The manual should show you where the jacking points are on a vehicle. Generally, it's the strongest place where you see the thickest metal and it's all reinforced and heavy duty. You can also do it where control arms link to the car. Typically, some people pick them up by the rear differential. I guess that's okay. Anyway, yeah, make sure you check your manual for the jacking points on your specific vehicle before you jack it up. Okay, the wheel's off. I'll be able to show you on this one a little better because I got started on the other one without showing you what was up. Okay, so see under there, up under here, there's a little clip. You gotta pull that clip off. That's right here. We gotta pull this clip off with a pair of pliers. That'll loosen that up. And then we can try and put a wrench on this, but it probably won't do any good. It'll just turn. Also spray these with penetrating oil before you get started. Yeah, that's another old nasty hose. Let's see if it's as messed up in the front. Nope, actually that one's better. I would say all our problems are coming from that other one. And then in the front, right there, see the hose? Hose comes down to that little nut. And that nut is a 5/8. Okay, so here's the clip I was talking about. Gotta get it free. And it's been on there a long time, so it might break. Oh gosh. Should be able to get it though. There we go. Okay. See, I just moved. Actually, let's spray it with oil now. You can use penetrating oil. I'm just using this multi-purpose lubricant. Just that'll be good on the fitting too. Might as well hit the front nut as well. Try not to get any on your rotor. Use the little red straw. Now let's get that sucker off. Got it all lubed up. Come sliding out now. There you go. There's your clip. You see? I'll probably wire wheel that, clean it up, since the kit didn't come with new ones. So now this guy's loose. We can get in there. We want to put our wrench on this nut. Keep it from spinning. Keep this guy from spinning. Right there, that's good. Get this guy on there. It would be good to replace these lines. Okay, that's locked, and now we should be able to turn it. Here we go. Oh God, it just does not want to budge. This is what sucks about working on old cars. It's all seized up. I was able to find the right wrench for this nut. It's a 5/8. So it goes on like that, and I was able to free the nut with the vice grips. So we'll unscrew that. We'll take off the front nut. Okay, now I'm doing the front nut. Got a socket on it. You can see there, I've already broken it free. Now we're just backing it out. You want to put a tray down to catch the brake fluid. You could siphon out the reservoir first. Any way you do it, it's going to make a mess. We'll just get this out. There we go. See that little, whoops. See that little copper washer? You always want to replace those. Okay. Just get our bolt out. There's our bolt. This is really nasty looking and needs to be cleaned up. We'll wire wheel that with the Dremel along with our clip that's gotten all nasty. So there, our hose is free. Now we just need to unscrew it the rest of the way from the back, which is easier now that the front is released. You see? Now we can just turn it here away from the fitting instead of messing with the fitting. And just turn it away. Okay, there it is. We got the other one out. I can't even see the date code on this one. Maybe they didn't put them on them back then. I don't know. These days they stamp everything when it was manufactured. So you know just by glancing at it how old it is. But it's done, you know. It was probably done 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So anyway, we'll clean everything up and put the new one on. So that clip and this nut, they were rustier than the other side. They weren't oily, I guess, and so they got a little more corrosion. Anyway, I ended up using the grinding tip like that, and I just lightly cleaned off all the rust off the clip. Now I'm going to shoot them with this Rust-Oleum silver. That'll keep them from corroding again, unless you get brake fluid on them, in which case it'll wash off the paint. And if you paint this bolt, make sure you mask off all this lower stuff. You don't want paint getting into your brake fluid. Whenever you spray paint stuff, if you put it in the sun, it really cures it even faster. It makes a nice hard finish because the sun penetrates the paint and flashes off all the solvents. I've got a fan going too, which helps carry away the aerosols. Get our new hose going here. Cracks like the AC Delco. It's still just Sunsong hose. The same thing you get at O'Reilly under Brake Best name or any of the other names. It always is the same. There's like one company that makes these damn hoses. It's Sunsong. I think it's a Chinese company. They make all of our brake hoses. Anyway, that goes there. You see, that goes in there. And this goes to the front of the caliper. I did take a wire brush to the threads on the fitting, since there's probably some gunk and corrosion. The old washer is stuck on there, right here. You see, this is a washer, little copper washer, and you want to put a new one on. So try and get this one off if you can. There we go. I got it off. I just pried it off with the screwdriver. And we'll just clean these up a little bit. Make sure we're cleared good. Hit it with a little brake cleaner maybe. Wipe it with a rag. Oh, clean out in there too if you're feeling like you might have gotten some junk in there. Get those threads nice. So the kit comes with two new washers, and you put one like so, and then the other one on top with the nut. Pretty easy. When you go to put your new hose on, this is the right one, isn't it? Let's see. 2014, yeah, this is the right one. Anyway, we're going to put this one on here. It's easier to get the little screw-on fitting started with this loose, so you can turn the hose to tighten it, you know, like so, before anchoring to the front. So do that fitting first. You see, this is much easier to do it this way. You do all basic tightening this way before you anchor the front. Of course, you got to get in there and do it with the vice grips again. So with it loose, you can just push it apart, you see, and tighten it. You turn this way, turn it righty tighty, lefty loosey. So same thing, just see if I can get this. Okay, so that's pretty much how you do brake hoses on a Vega. Very simple, or any car. They're all pretty much this way. There's a clip that holds it. There's the fitting that you're probably going to round with a wrench, so you end up using vice grips, and a 5/8 on this. It's pretty straightforward. I gotta slide the clip in, my painted clip, and then we're done. We can bleed the brakes and go for a ride. Well, since I'm doing all the hoses, I just figured I'd go get some new clips. So this pack of 4 was like $5. That one was really scary. This is why I had to do it. It probably wasn't long before this thing was going to fail, like squirt out fluid. Anyway, you want fresh lines because it's rubber. It gets hard with age. It deteriorates like this from heat and oxygen. And they do move a little. That's why they have rubber ones, so that the suspension can move and the hose takes it up. So now we've got fresh rubber. So that's how you do your brake hoses. It's not that hard.